Welcome to the Wrestling Club podcast. I'm still here with Rachel. I'm excited to have my very first guest share their story of the way that they wrestled with God and allow this story to enter into the world so that people can be encouraged, so that people can see what it looks like to struggle and still love God and still let the Lord and still see his goodness in your life. So thank you, Rachel, for being here and being willing to share. It's hard sometimes to let people who you don't know into what the Lord has done in your life. And you didn't have to do this.
Yes.
So I appreciate in advance, I appreciate your honesty and your transparency. And I'm excited to hear you tell the story of your life. To start us off, I do want to talk about how, I know this probably seems out of order from the last episode, but I want to talk about how we met, because we were at a worship team night, and I knew of you, but I had never probably talked to you. And you said something that hinted to me that you had tried to have a baby, and it had been a while, and I was really needing encouragement in that phase of my life. I mean, still I need encouragement. So I texted you, and we scheduled a time to go to Coastal Fog. R.I.P. Coastal Fog. We will miss you forever. But we met at Coastal Fog, and immediately, over dry sausage balls, became besties. They were really bad.
But we still miss Coastal Fog.
Yes, we do miss Coastal Fog, but not for the sausage balls. But yeah, that was a mark in history. Actually, you know it. You just asked me the date for it. Go ahead. Tell the people about Coastal Fog.
Tell the people. So the worship night, from my perspective, I knew who you were because you led worship all the time. And so recognized you, of course, but didn't really know you. And yes, I shared an update on just which was really kind of out of character for me, to be honest. Like with this kind of random pairing of people, we had like split up into like vocalists and whatever. And so for me to just be like, oh yeah, me and my husband are doing this, like was kind of weird. But yes, that is what I shared. And then you're like, we should get coffee. And so you can tell me your story.
Yeah. Tell them what you shared.
Okay. All right. So I shared that, my husband, Ben, and I had started the adoption process. And so at this point of this worship night, which I don't remember when the worship night was.
It was probably in January.
Yeah.
Because, it took us a little while to get together. We're busy gals.
So we were still very like early on in the process. And I think it was the first time I felt confident in saying, we're doing this, And so maybe that's why in this kind of random setting, I felt bold enough to say it out loud. But yes, that was a worship night. Mm-hmm. And then Coastal Fog, we just sat down, and now I know, this is just how you are, because you're like, I'm not going to waste time with someone on the frivolous conversation. And so you were just like, tell me your story, like tell me why you guys are adopting and tell me what led you to that decision. And
I did that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Cause I just opened up with, I know I told you the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yes, I do remember that we started there because I didn't know your story yet. I just assumed, because you had asked, in the way you asked to get coffee, that it was a part of your story too.
Oh.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm willing to share. And I shared everything. And then you shared with me where you guys were and in that struggle.
Which I had only been trying for like 4 months.
Yeah.
But, and I think I told you that day though, which I don't, and obviously you didn't know this. I had not shared with, I don't think, anyone.
No, I think you told me that. I think you did tell me that, because I thought like, oh my gosh, I'm basically a stranger to you. And
which is probably why I wanted to, because I was so just protective of my own heart that I didn't want people who I knew to ask me about it again. I'm like, maybe this stranger won't care.
Yeah. But after that, I remember, I think it was after this. We've had so many conversations. I'm pretty sure it was the first one. I talked to my sister, who is a part of, her journey's kind of a part of mine too. But I talked to my sister and was like, hey, I met this new friend and she's going through infertility, and I got to actually like speak into that. And I feel like the Holy Spirit was like using me in this way. And it was kind of new for me. And so it was the first time I feel like the Lord actually maybe used what I had been through to speak to someone. And it was just really cool that I now continue to get to be friends with you.
Yeah.
And continue to pray with you and be with you in that journey, and that you've been with me on mine.
Yeah. We were there for a long time that day. And I remember when we left, I said this in the first episode. I think it was the first episode that I was really hoping. I was like, Lord, if this is all just to show me that adoption is my story, no, that's going to be a no for me.
And I remember you told me that. And I was like, well, daggone, like, okay, well, just kidding. I guess I'm not supposed to be here.
Don't worry, guys. I have
she's come around.
Yeah,
I mean, not there yet, but
right.
Like still accepting me in her life.
Because there was a part of me, there still is a part of me that's like, okay, cool, Lord, yeah, please call me to adopt. Then I can control a factor in this story, which I know that wasn't the reason why y'all wanted to adopt. Yeah, something that you told me at Coastal Fog. Oh my gosh, this was so beautiful. You told me, like, I think we were wrapping up and you were trying to communicate to me that you genuinely want to be in this with me. And the way that you said that was, I have capacity to carry this with you. And I will just never forget that. And I have used that language with other people when it is true, when I do have capacity, because sometimes you don't. You're carrying your own stuff and you don't have the capacity to help other people. But you use that language with me. And I can't remember. I wish I could. But the Lord had like said something to me with the word capacity. But I don't remember what it was. But when you used the word capacity, it just struck me. It's beautiful anyway, but it really connected with me. So that was like one of my main takeaways from being with you at Coastal Fog. And the other one was, do you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
Say it.
About the list in your phone?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Which you already talked about that on the podcast.
But you were like, okay,
Number one, delete the list.
And I didn't immediately. But I don't know if it was days or just hours. But eventually I did delete it. And I remember I celebrated that with you. And that was very good advice. Yeah. And something that stood out to me, because I was a wreck. Honestly, inside and outside, I was a mess at that time in my life. And you were so confident in the adoption journey and calm and at peace and not like worried at all. And that really stood out to me. That gave me hope, because I remember you telling me like this. I remember you saying this piece is a little new to me. Like this sureness in the Lord is not how it's always been for me. And so that did give me hope of like, okay, if this person has peace one day, I can too. So tell me how you got to that place of peace at Coastal Fog, how y'all even came to adopt. Just tell us all the details. Yeah.
Well, I had to walk down memory lane a little bit.
That was fun, I bet.
Yeah, it was, because I feel like I've blocked out some of this, but some of it I do feel like we never even talked about. And so kind of the start of our journey, actually listening to you, which I've heard your story before, but kind of I connected with it in a new way because you experienced this season of pre-waiting. I feel like that's what we should call it. Yeah. Like you weren't actually really in the like infertility wait yet, but you were just like, I'm ready to start trying.
Yeah.
I want to be a mom. I want to have a baby and I want it right now.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really thought about it before, but that's kind of how our journey started, because when Ben and I met, he was in pharmacy school and we got married like his second year of pharmacy school. And so for the first 3 years of our marriage, he was in school. And so we knew like the responsible thing to do is not to bring a child into this like one income family, and like he's stressed out with school all the time. And so we held off from starting to try. But I wanted kids so bad, and I always have, and I've always wanted to be a mom, and I have loved every single other person in my life's children. Like I have always known that that was something that the Lord's called me to. And so it was painful having to go through that, like that pre-wait. Mm-hmm. There's probably a technical term for it, but I don't know.
I like pre-wait.
Okay, we'll go with it.
We've never said that.
Yeah, we've never said that before. I don't think we've ever talked about this before, actually.
A little bit.
Okay. So yeah, but in that period, like that is when, for me, it was like the pregnancy announcements all around me. They felt so hard because it was like, I can't even start trying yet. And here are all these people getting what they want. And I would especially get mad if it was like a freshly married 18-year-old, which I'm so glad that they have the gift of their child in their life. But it just was hard to like cope with that when it felt like I was a real adult and this wasn't happening for us yet.
Yeah.
And so first 3 years of marriage, Ben was in pharmacy school. Then he did a year of residency. And so same kind of thing. It was like he had a job, but it was super crazy and busy and like intentionally challenging and stressful. Like it's designed that way.
Yeah.
And so we agreed to continue to hold off. So 4 years. It's a long time. I know you can relate to that. And so that's kind of how our journey started. And then we started finally like, okay, this wouldn't be the worst time in the world anymore. In like 21, 22. I don't really remember exactly, but kind of that's sort of when that started for us. And so it wasn't a super long time for me either until I asked my doctor some questions and kind of explained like this is a challenge for us. And I've already been waiting this whole time, you know, like not technically,
this wait has
but
been
like,
really long.
yeah, like this has felt super long. And so I started having like testing, like the normal routine stuff done in December of 2022. Timelines are kind of important in a little bit of this. So started like having all of those discussions and appointments. And then we actually, nothing was like conclusive, which actually I think is worse. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's a whole debate. But
yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah. Nothing was conclusive. And it was kind of just like, well, it'll happen eventually. Like, you know, just keep trying. But if you're really impatient, you know, you can go to a fertility clinic. And so we did that in May of 2023. So we waited a few months. We went to a fertility clinic in Raleigh and started having those conversations. So, and those people, I'm just saying, they're like ready to roll. Yeah. They're like, they move fast. And that's not a negative comment. It's just like, you better be ready for what you're walking into.
What I felt like was, I mean, it's fair. It's like, if you're coming to me, it's because you want to do something. If you don't want to do something about it, why are you coming to me? And it's like, oh, well, I was coming for knowledge and information and like guidance on how my body works, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're like, okay, so do you want to, it's only like the options of what you can do, all the interventions, which is, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of why they exist, I guess. But
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So we went on, this is, no one else in the world probably cares about this, but they move fast. So May 3rd, we drove to Raleigh for this first appointment. I think they did like genetic testing, did some general tests on both me and Ben. And he was like, I want to do this other test on you. Can you be here tomorrow? And I was like, I'm an hour and a half away and like I work a job, you know?
Right.
But made it work. So went back the next day for this other test. And then I didn't really hear anything. And some of these details are kind of blurry because it doesn't really matter. But we had a follow-up like in a couple weeks from then to talk about like the results of all the tests and how we should move forward with interventions and, you know, the list of all the things. And we had a Zoom call May 23rd. And we were like getting ready to move forward with an IUI, which I'm assuming some of your listeners know what that is, but intrauterine insemination. So it's kind of like one of the earlier interventions for fertility. And so we had already discussed previously like that we would be comfortable doing that. And so we were like getting ready to start. I think I might have even made an appointment to go back. And for some reason, okay, now this whole time I've never had a positive pregnancy test in my life. Like this has been like that's never happened. I have tested too.
How many times? Did you do it every month?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely not.
It's
you don't
too
do that.
Heartbreaking.
No.
Some people do.
You don't do that. No, I probably took maybe 5 the whole time.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't keep track.
Yeah.
You probably did.
Okay.
Anyway, and so we got off this call and I was like, okay, like here we go. Like we're going to go. This is moving forward. You know, like we're going to pursue this. And I can't even tell you other than I guess the Holy Spirit. I was like, I'm going to go take a pregnancy test just to make sure. Like so completely random. And it was positive. And I like walked out and I was like, this is the Lord, you know, like, look, I like got to this place and like, this is him like stepping in and intervening. And asking us to have faith. And anyway, super jazzed. Also kind of freaked out because this has never happened to me before. And I didn't even do like a cute thing to Ben, like people do like on like TikTok and stuff. Like I just walked out and I was like, what is this? And he looked at it and he was like, I don't know. And we both were just kind of in shock. And so we drove to Walgreens and bought better tests because I, of course, had the cheap ones because, you know, I'm not hopeful in this whole time.
Don't want to break your heart over $17.
Right. So go buy better tests and come back and it's still positive. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is really happening. And so I was pregnant and downloaded the app and figured out my due date and like did all the things. And I remember where I was when I called the OB and made my first appointment. And they said I can come in at 7 weeks. And so I went in for that appointment on, again, no one cares, June 12th.
I care.
Okay, on June 12th.
2023. Okay.
And found out that it was not a viable pregnancy. And so super traumatic experience. And also, my job is super busy in the month of June. And so when I think back to this, it's so wild to me. But I found this out on June 12th. And it was kind of one of those like, well, they don't want to commit when this happens. They don't want to like tell you like 100% this is over. So they're like, well, we'll bring you back in a couple of days for follow-up testing. And, you know, if this level is continuing to fall or if the ultrasound shows this, whatever. And so I did that. Like I had more blood work done. I think I had another ultrasound. Anyway, they basically told me like my body was not naturally miscarrying. And so I could just wait for that to happen or have a D&C. And so again, I honestly feel like, and grief does this. I think like I just kind of slipped into this other person almost, but I decided to wait. And so I didn't have that D&C for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
And because I was like, well, if I get to be in control of something, then I'm going to make this work with my work schedule, which is just crazy to think about, right?
Yes, I do remember you telling me that.
Yeah. Also so very me. Anyway, so that was really hard. And coming out of that was this season of like, Lord, I wasn't even expecting this blessing, you know, not really. And I thought that this was going to be something that I wasn't. And where are you in this? And I think if anybody's ever walked through miscarriage, which so many people have, like, you know what that feels like. And yeah, it just was hard. And I remember follow-up appointments with my OB after that, like talking about where do we go from here. Was just kind of, she was like, well, I think she was actually the one that said, it's not a matter of if you can get pregnant because you've shown that you can. It's just a matter of when. Wow. And I was like, well, that's not encouraging. Yeah. And so, yeah, I also kind of was feeling like I can't go through this again.
Right.
It was just really hard, the like letdown and the disappointment and this wrestling with what am I even supposed to be doing? You know, like, Lord, if this door is shut, is there something I'm missing? You know, is there something I'm supposed to be seeing in this that I'm not seeing? And so I would love to say that this was like super holy and righteous and we just like fell on our face before the Lord and like continued to seek him and it was beautiful. And I do think we were seeking him and it didn't look like that. You know, it was like as I could barely get out of bed. Yeah. I remember feeling the Lord's comfort in ways that were so tangible. And it was like, I was not in his word. I was not in prayer. I was doing the bare minimum because I was just grieving and mourning and he was still there, you know, in the middle of it. Anyway, and so I'm guessing it's because of him that we kind of were able to pick up and I want to say move on. I don't know if that sounds bad, but just figure out what was next for us. Like, what is our next step? And so an important part of this journey also is that I mentioned my sister before, and my sister and her husband walked through infertility for 5 years. And she's older than me. She got married before I did. And so I watched that and watched her struggle and watched her grieve, you know, what could have been. And we say it's kind of funny because my sister's never had a miscarriage, and I have, but she also walked through IUI, IVF. She and her husband now have 2 kids.
Okay, she did IVF.
Yeah.
And was it successful in the first try for both?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So my sister did IVF. They have 2 kids, and that is why they are here, which is beautiful. And it was not easy for them at all. Like, my sister has some medical issues and led to hospitalizations, and both babies were born really early, and like, it was really scary. Yeah. And when I think about the Lord's healing, I think about my niece and nephew, and I think about how he brought them through some really hard things. And so all of that to say, that's in the back of my mind as Ben and I are talking about what to do next.
Yeah, that is something that people do not, you just don't understand unless you understand the types of heartbreaking conversations you have to have with your husband. Of like, how far are we willing to go?
Yeah.
How many things are we willing to try? How much money are we willing to spend? I'll spend a lot of money. Like, and some people, they just get this thing for free.
Yeah.
Those are some weird conversations.
Yeah. It makes it really unromantic. To say the least.
That part too.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that part. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, it can really make something that you thought was just going to be a seamless, smooth process become so messy and disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think because, you mentioned a statistic before that was like 1 in 6. Is that the thing? I don't remember the statistics.
Is
gonna struggle with like having a baby.
No, I was just making that up.
Okay, no, I think there's like a real statistic.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay. We'll fact check that later. Okay. Stay tuned.
Everybody Google the statistic yourself.
Yeah.
Ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's fine. There's plenty of statistics around infertility. Actually, it's really sad. But no, I remember thinking like, so it's just my sister and I. And so I remember thinking because she's struggled, I'm probably not gonna. Like,
Which
I
is
remember,
not how statistics work.
Right. But I remember feeling that way, like in that pre-wait,
Yeah.
you know, it was like, I just wish we could start trying because I want to know if we're going to struggle.
Yeah.
You know, because it was such a real part of my life, but continuing to hold on to this hope that like, well, 50% chance here, like my sister struggled, I'm probably not going to.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that was just delusion or what, clearly it was. But everything for a purpose, right? So, that was now part of our story.
Yeah.
And so Ben and I, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
My story?
Yes.
Okay. So Ben and I just started talking about, what was next. Oh, I was going to talk about this. So this whole time, I have been on this is like detail, but it's important. Okay. I promise. I've been on a biologic, which is a medication, for like years. And there's some that you can be on if you're going to be pregnant and some that you can't. And so, of course, like knowing we were trying, I had been on one that was safe for pregnancy. And so around this time, like after the miscarriage, a couple months later, I noticed that the medicine just stopped working. Like it wasn't controlling my symptoms anymore, which just was super annoying. And it's not like a life or death thing, but it was just very, very frustrating. And so I tried a new medication that's like also safe in pregnancy because who knows what we're going to do at this point. And then I had like super adverse reactions to it. And so it just kind of continued to feel like, what in the literal world is happening in my body? And so I remember, and this is like a very weird detail, that medication thing is like not that important to my story, but my husband's a pharmacist. And so this is funny because one of the most important moments, I would say, of our life and our marriage is out of the story. So I was talking to him on the way home from work one day on the phone, driving, and complaining about this medication thing and about my symptoms.
With lots
and
of
like
drama, probably.
Lots of drama because it's really not a big deal, but like to me it's a really big deal. And I remember exactly where I was in the neighborhood, what street, what corner I was sitting at. I'm complaining, and Ben goes, well, do you think this is the Lord just telling us we should adopt? And I literally said, are you serious? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, it just, if like, then you could be back on this other medication, because I was on one before that was not safe in pregnancy. So then you could get back on this medication and like this problem be solved. And then on top of that, all the rest of the story and the wrestling and all that was going on.
Because you had already been okay with adoption this whole time, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm going out of order.
That's okay.
But yes, like I have always felt called to adopt, and I felt like I knew that was going to be a part of my story. But I've been praying for the Lord to work in Ben's heart. If that's where we were headed, like this wasn't a total shock to me. Like it had been on my heart and mind after the miscarriage. Like I don't want to go through this again. I've always wanted to adopt. Maybe this is what's next for us. But I didn't feel like Ben was there.
Right.
And so I'd been praying for like the Lord to move in his heart. And
Which I don't want people to miss that, because I think what a lot of wives do, and even are taught to do by the people before them, is to talk. When you want to change your husband's mind, when you want your husband's mind to change, speak. Yeah. Speak. And that is so key, that you just have to let go and
faith,
pray.
yeah.
Literally the only changes I've ever seen in Tyler are things that I prayed about. It's so important.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yes. And I would have robbed God of that moment to like reveal himself in that way, I think, because he didn't know. Like we really hadn't talked about it. And this isn't a long span of time. So this is like kind of like our brains, like things are kind of going quickly. And so the fact that he just jumped to that, to me, it was an answer. Yeah. You know? And I asked him what he felt about that, and I think it was just like it didn't feel as meaningful to him, but it was, because we know the Lord's working. Yes. And Ben's not a feeler, but yes. So he says this, and I'm like, "Are you serious? Like I'm ready." Right. And it was kind of the validation that I needed, because I knew I didn't want to continue forward, and I'd been having this, which kind of came in the months that followed. So we started the adoption process. Within like by the end of that month, we had already submitted like an interest form to find out more about our agency that we ended up using, Christian Adoption Services. And so this moved fast. You know, I was like, oh, Ben's open to this. Let me like go ahead and
let's not delay.
Yeah, just kidding. We were on the same page. For real. So anyway, we tried that. And so I think like in that process, we were in the application process. October 2023 to April 2024 was like our just like application, paperwork, fingerprints, all the things. We can talk all about that another time if you really want to know, if anyone wants to know. But during that time, like this is when, you know, you've talked about the season of waiting that I've walked through. It's all of this. It's the infertility, it's the pre-waiting, it's the infertility, it's the miscarriage, it's the like, what do we do next? And then it's like, okay, we've decided, but adoption doesn't happen quickly. And so, you know, we've now made up our mind, and this feels real and this feels right, and now we have to wait for all of these things to fall into place, and for all of this time to pass. And in that, the Lord really changed the desire of my heart, or maybe just revealed it to me in a way that I hadn't noticed before, because I mentioned I've always wanted to be a mom. Like I knew for sure that was part of my story, like you do, but I had pictured it looking one way. And when I tell you that, like, the Lord completely shifted that for me. Wow. Like, it didn't, I can honestly tell you, I am completely content if I never get pregnant, if I never birth a child. And, like, I wouldn't have said that to you.
Yeah, I'm not there.
3 or 4 years ago. And that's okay. That's okay. The people are going to get my real-time encouragement to you. It's okay, Alexis, feel how you feel. But that's what he did for me. And so I believe he can do that in any situation. You know, this is a big one for a lot of people, but I think that he does that. When you seek like actually what his desire for you is, instead of just what yours is for you. Like he'll reveal it to you. Amen. And so that's what he did to us. Yeah.
Wow. And I remember you telling me the details of like some of the stuff y'all had to do to basically, that's another thing. When you go through adoption, you have to prove that you are worthy. I'm like, what about all these other people who get pregnant who are actually not worthy, and no one asks them to prove themselves? Yeah. It's just hard. An additional burden.
Yeah. And that's a wrestle. Like really, that is something that I wrestled with, like feeling this injustice almost. Like we had to upload, I mean, it's crazy, but like financial statements and to prove that we could afford to raise a child. And, you know, again, I'm thinking, I know half the people leave the hospital are not ready financially for a baby, because I don't even know that we are, but like I had to submit it anyway. And so, just feeling super vulnerable too, you know, like, okay, sure, you can look at literally every inch of my life to determine.
House.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember you had to submit this thing for the website that it was pages.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I loved reading it. And it was really
album.
sweet. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I loved it. And anyways, the website had that, but it also had each family that was waiting.
Yeah.
And when you are no longer waiting, you become gray. Mm-hmm. And this became a point of tension for you.
Yes.
Because people were becoming gray, but you weren't for a long, what was it, like 11 months?
10 months.
10 months.
Yeah.
And that was the day, I mean, in that time period was when we were at Longhorn. Mm-hmm. And you were just like, I mean, I knew I was going to have to wait for adoption, but like, we are above the average at this point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I was calculating it.
Right.
Like, this is the unhealthy thing. So this is probably where you should have yelled at me to get rid of the list in my phone, where I had, like, what number we became on the list and when.
And then everybody else. Yes. I do remember you telling me that.
Because it felt like the only thing I could control.
Right.
And I think that's, like, you know, it's so easy, I think, on the other side of any struggle. But, like, I'm just going to talk about adoption. Now that we're on this side of it, for people to look at our life maybe and think like, oh, how romantic and beautiful is this story? And like, I want that for my life. And oh, it looked like it was so easy. And I'm perfectly content now. And like, and so there's parts of that feel true today. Mm-hmm. But in the middle of it, that was not the case every day, you know? And I think that's the wrestling of, like, in the beginning of the wait, I noticed a shift in myself. So for probably the first 1 to 2 months, I felt so prepared, so ready, so like in control. But I think it was a control thing. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, yeah. I'm ready if we get the call today. Like, I've got work figured out. I've got the car seat. We've got the nursery halfway ready. Like, we're ready. And then the longer it went on, I think what I needed to learn is that I was not in control at all.
Yeah.
And that's something I still struggle with, is like just wanting to know what's happening, wanting to be in control of it. And yeah, that's a huge change that I saw in myself.
Yeah. Even on the other side of adoption, I remember you did like kind of worry about it a lot. Like, you talked about it a lot. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be a good mom. I don't know if I have what I need. I don't know if I'm going to know how to use this.
Because the longer we waited, I was like, oh wait, now I'm not in control of this anymore.
Yeah. Like, should we actually even do this? Mm-hmm. And then, this is kind of beautiful, but also, it's like kind of feels backwards. I don't know if it's true gratitude or if it's like a self-preservation, but you're like, I'm actually glad I can go to cookout whenever I want if it's at 10 p.m. Or I'm glad I get to leave my niece and nephews and go home and go to bed whenever I want to and wake up whenever I want to. Yep. Like, I don't think it's like inauthentic gratitude, but...
No, I still stand by that. I have friends who are pregnant or experiencing whatever, and it's like, the season you're in right now is going to end, and so enjoy it for what it is.
Right.
And so that's probably one of the things I was just clinging to in that season is like, I want to change this right now. Mm-hmm. But because I can't, then you know what? I'm going to be spontaneous, and I'm going to go do things. And now, a year into this, I'm like, oh man, that was nice.
Yep.
Like when we could just... sleep in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about the moment that you were no longer waiting.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Yeah. Well, this is like the coolest part of the story to relive. Obviously for many reasons in my own life, but because you were there for this moment.
Yeah, it was so special.
Which is so crazy. So, okay. So we waited for 10 months.
After you started the adoption. That was after your adoption stuff was finalized?
Yeah. Like, we became a waiting family June of 2024.
How long did it take to become a waiting family?
We started at August 2023.
So it took a year, basically.
Just about.
To become a waiting family. And then 10 months after that.
And then 10 months after that. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, but like the waiting family period is like, literally we could get the call any moment. And so...
Which affects your life.
Affects your whole life. Like, I was constantly living in like let's make plans for Saturday. But I might have to cancel, you know, if I get a call between now and then. And then for 10 months, it didn't happen. Right. And I didn't cancel plans. Right. And so that was hard.
Yeah.
But yes, okay. So the moment we got the call was, okay, so my birthday was on Easter in 2025, which is a fun thing that happens when you have April birthday every so often. And, but I was like in this really kind of not super awesome place. And so I didn't want to go do Easter things. And like, I really didn't even want to be with family. I had told people what I want for my birthday as a baby. And because I can't have that, like, I don't even really care. And so I remember talking to you about that, and it was like, okay, well, let's do something about it. Like, you and Tyler weren't doing anything for Easter. And so we decided to go out on the boat for Easter and after church. So went to church that morning, went home, opened birthday presents. I know all the details of this day, which are not that important anymore, but met you guys and went out on the boat, and then went around and, did whatever you do on a boat. Took lots of funny pictures and did things like in the water and whatever for a couple hours, and then went to dinner. And at Backwater Jack's, right? I had never been there before. I still haven't been back.
Still haven't eaten there.
Still haven't eaten there. So we're sitting at dinner, and by the way, I had been answering every single call on my phone for 10 months which I told somebody that knew our agency, and they were like, oh, you didn't just save their numbers so you would know? And I was like, well, now that you mention it, what a great idea. No, I didn't. And so I just was answering like every call, like spam calls, like everything. And so we're sitting at dinner, and I missed a call. And I guess we were talking or singing happy birthday. I don't know what we were doing. And missed a call. And so looked down, and I was like, oh crap, missed a call. And then like a moment later got a text it was somebody at our agency that said, hey, Rachel and Ben, tried to call you. If you can call me back, I have a case to present to you. And I remember like at first before the text came in, we were like joking about the missed call. And then I like made this face. You probably remember it better than I do, because I like probably went like blacked out. But I remember like making this face and looking at you, and you were like, oh my gosh, is this it? And I was like, yeah, this is it. And just to like, the gravity of this moment is huge. Like, just so people don't miss it. Like, we had literally been on pins and needles for this for almost a year. And for us to have been sitting there together, it feels serendipitous to me.
Yeah. It was really special.
And so Ben and I are like, oh my God, well, let's call her back right away. And so we go outside and we call, and anyway.
Yeah, y'all disappeared for 45 minutes.
It wasn't actually that long.
Oh, really?
Oh, maybe it was that long.
I couldn't see you because I was sitting on the balcony, and like I looked all around the restaurant. I'm like, do they want us to take? Yeah, we have to take them home. They don't have a car.
We're on a boat.
I guess we'll just keep sitting here. We ate all of our food. And then we were like, should we get them a box? I was like, they're not going to eat this. But we did. We did.
You did box it up.
But yeah, you're like, yeah, it's happening. And we're like, well, then let's leave.
Yeah. Yeah. So the timeline of this is so cool to me because at 6:16 p.m., I did make these notes. We accepted the case.
Wow.
And then at 1 a.m., we got to High Point that night, which is...
I didn't realize y'all went in the middle of the night.
Yeah. We went back home. So, I should just say, we got the call. Kanan had been born the day before, and so he was already a day old, and he was going to be discharged from the hospital the next morning. And so we're like at Backwater Jack's in our bathing suits, like via boat. Our car is not here. And it's like, oh my gosh, we have to be in High Point in like 15 hours. Like, we better go. Oh, by the way, like, we just became parents, and so we should probably go, like, make sure the car seat's in the car and stuff. Like, it was like we had this list that suddenly started growing. Despite being ready for it for 10 months, it still felt like, oh my gosh, what do we do? You know? I don't think you really can actually prepare for that. So anyway, yes, we came home and like did some stuff around the house. We had a bunch of friends that, we called a couple people that night. Adoption's, kind of hard because you can't tell, it's not public for a while, and like you can't tell a whole bunch of people, but we did call several like close friends and tell them, and people came over and like cleaned our bathrooms and like did laundry and washed bottles, and that was really special. And so yeah, we found out about him 6 o'clock on Sunday, and by 6 o'clock the next day he was home.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I remember you FaceTiming me. Well, it wasn't FaceTime, it was Google Meet. You Google Meeted me in the car once you picked him up, and it was just it was also interesting visiting you because I'd never visited someone who adopted a newborn. I'd only visited moms who had birthed their newborn and moms who have a hole inside of them are very fragile and tired. Yeah. And you were like, yeah, I haven't been through anything physically, so I just walk around and carry my baby.
Yeah.
It was just fun. It was like, oh my, I remember being like, you are holding a gift from the Lord, which all babies are. It just felt so different.
I'm pretty sure you said that like 17 times.
Oh my gosh. It was I was in shock.
Yeah.
And I remember when you got the call, I learned, it confirmed that I had been carrying the burden with you, because it immediately lifted for me too.
Yeah.
And just taught me that that's a real thing, to help people carry their burdens. So what did waiting prepare in you for motherhood that you would have otherwise not missed out on, but like, how did it shape you into the mother that you are?
Yeah.
Gas yourself up a little bit.
I think it is all about control for me. I think it just proved to me that I really do have to trust him. Mm-hmm. And I really so often want to do stuff on my own and figure out my own plan and figure out my own, and it's something that I wrestle with. And I keep saying it, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like, really, is because, do I really trust God? Do I really trust him to turn this over? And I had to do that in our wait. And now, on the other side of it, my priorities have changed a lot. My capacity has changed.
Right. Gosh, I wish we could just talk about everything now. Yeah. We have to end at some point. But yeah, tell us.
But I've just learned that I have got to let go. Yeah. And I think adoption, in a way, not to like say that other people's stories of how their children come into their lives are different, but I mean, I would not have him, like, literally. And I just see it in such a tangible way. Mm-hmm. And so I have to trust the Lord. And I think it just showed me that he's going to do a better job than I could ever do. And that. Like, we all know that. And it sounds like just a thing that Christians say, and it's a cliche, and it's not what I wanted to hear when I was in the middle of the wait.
Right.
But it's true. And I think it's a lesson that I had to learn. And now I have.
Yeah.
And I'm not done learning it. Like, he's still working on me. But I think just knowing I can't control everything. Canaan is not mine. He's the Lord's. And I get to be a part of his life, and I get to raise him. And I was chosen to do that. Me and Ben. And it's so much fun. And it is the greatest thing we've ever done. It is the most fun thing we've ever done in our lives. But, like, we're still us.
Yeah.
And, like, Canaan's not mine.
Yeah.
And so I think it's that control piece. I think sometimes motherhood turns you into this, like, because you are in control, actually, really, of a lot of things. You actually have to give them everything they're going to eat and do all the things for them. But it's that, like, lurking control of, like, I can make this person into who I want them to be. I can teach them the thing, and it's like, I'm going to do my best, but I'm going to trust the Lord to do the rest, because he's called me to this. And so I think he's going to use me, and I don't have to, like, do it all on my own.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been really cool to see, like, all the things that you worried about before you got Canaan, I've never heard you worry about on this side. There are other things that you worry about, but the, like, do I know how to put him to bed, and do I know how to make his schedule? And, like, all of that, you're like, we'll figure it out, and we're fine with how we're figuring it out, Like,
I still worry sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's not, like, you have the confidence, like, I have what I need to be his mom, because the Lord chose us to raise him.
Right.
And chose him for your family. It is such a story of how the Lord chooses us too. Yeah. I saw a quote the other day that says, the loveliest masterpiece of the heart of God is the heart of a mother. And that's what I've seen him do in you and in a lot of my friends, but preparing you for motherhood, and just the way that you support other moms, and even how you share your motherhood with me as someone who's still waiting. There, like, this is, like, kind of funny, but also really real, like, times when you complain about stuff to me, and I'm like, Isn't that crazy how the thing that you thought would seal your joy is actually, I'm not going to say stealing it, but disguising it, hiding it from you?
Yeah.
It's real. And it always reminds me that children are not the promise.
No.
The Lord's presence is the promise, and like his love for us is the promise. And so if we are waiting for joy for when we hold a baby, we will not have joy when we hold a baby, because that's not where our joy comes from.
Like, I have to pursue the Lord way more than I pursue Canaan, a relationship with him. And I hope that by doing that, of course, not like neglecting my child, but by doing that, I hope I show him that like the Lord has to be the most important thing.
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes now that looks different. It looks like, I have to wash the bottles, and I have to rock him to sleep at 2 a.m. And so while I'm doing these things, I might try to be in prayer or try to listen to worship songs or something. I mean, it looks different. Reflect on what the Lord's doing, but yeah.
Yeah. That was something that, that is something that waiting will teach you, is to write your priorities. Because I remember when I was in therapy one time really hashing out my lack of control, but probably not recognizing it for that. I was just complaining and talking about everything, and my therapist was like, you are already putting your kids above your husband and above your relationship with God even before they have arrived. And that is something that's beautiful. When you get the chance, when the Lord blesses you with the opportunity to wait for motherhood, it does teach you to prioritize him, because you don't have another option. You don't.
So true.
Yeah. Gosh, I wish I could ask you so many more questions about motherhood now, and even your marriage during waiting, because that's a real thing. So if anybody hears this and wants to ask Rachel those questions, I'm volunteering her to answer them. So thank you so much for being here and praying with me, praying for me, encouraging me, sharing your life with me. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Oh, yes.
Close this out.
Yes, I'm going to close this out because we talked about our Spotify playlist.
Okay.
I'm going to close this out with a song shout out.
Okay.
A little lyric. Because I was thinking about, like, if I could go back and see how it was going to turn out, like, what would I've thought, you know? And there's a song called Always on Time, which has been my jam lately. And it says, if I knew then what I knew now, I would be still and let you work it out.
Wow.
And I didn't write that, of course, but it has just spoken to me in so many ways, because we should be still and we're not. And the Lord kind of knows that we're not going to be, but like pursuing that stillness and the hope that, you know, he's going to work it out because he loves you.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it's going to look like. I didn't know what it would look like. But now, being on the other side of that wait, knowing if I had just been still in my waiting, you know, it would have saved me a lot of wrestling and heartache.
Right.
And of course there's beauty that came from it, but it's just beautiful to think about that. Whatever is coming next, he's already written the story.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe what we know, but amen to that. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Rachel, for being here. I hope that everyone is encouraged by this person who has wrestled and prevailed and still follows the Lord and loves the Lord and looks back and says, God, thank you for this way. Thank you that you did it your way. Your ways are higher and better. And we thank you for that. And we pray that you will be encouraged by our stories. We'll see you on the next episode. Well, Rachel won't, but I will. So see you then.